and welcome to the Fleetwood Mac Appreciation Podcast. My name's Rodney.
My name's Zach.
Just kidding. Super License F1 Podcast. Back for another season, Zach. A little bit of banter from us, just coming in hot with some hot takes.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be an odd podcast for it to be the Fleetwood Mac Appreciation Podcast. From what you were saying pre-show, I think only one half of the podcast or of the podcasting team panel would be an appreciator, and you on the other side would just be playing, I don't know, devil's advocate or
Look, no one tunes in to listen to a podcast where someone says, I think Fleetwood Mac is the best band in the world, and the other person says, you're right. End of show. That's not compelling listening.
Although there are other shows out there where they do watch TV shows and they're like, oh, isn't this just the best? And you're like, yep, another episode of you doing that. That's good.
Yeah.
No, thank you. No,
the
thank you.
worst
This is why
podcasts in the world.
we both do this show where we sometimes go and watch episodes of Drive to Survive, and seemingly the tone has changed for both of us. And the rumors are that we just don't like the show anymore, and we just bitch about it as we watch it. So that's a different style of podcasting, I would say.
You can tell things are not going well when we find anything other than what's going on the screen to talk about. That's usually a good sign that like our interest in either the show or the content matter is waning. It's on the wane. But I mean, the good thing is, I mean, it probably doesn't get better in terms of drama, suspense, controversy than the end of this season that we're covering, which, to be clear, we're covering the end of season 4. We've still got 3 whole ass episodes to do before the launch of season 5, which is only in a few weeks. Whoops. But we'll get there. And then after that, but boy, we'll be kicking straight into like races before you even know it. So we want to wrap up this season of Dare to Swear, so to speak. And well, look, Zach, I mean, when you're faced with an issue like how do we squeeze in 3 episodes in? Well, we would normally record 1 episode over this period of time. How do you squeeze in covering 3 episodes? And then I had this brainwave where I thought, I know, there's this great feature on streaming platforms where you can watch things a little bit faster. You can sort of do the cheats way. So we've decided to be a bunch of dirty cheaters today.
Yeah, exactly. And look, you initially suggested 2 times speed, which is what I think a lot of listeners try to attempt to listen to our show in, but because we're Australians and we talk really fast, it probably doesn't. It's
feels like that already.
And Netflix, they don't like to let you, drive on your own, take the training wheels off. They only let us go to 1.5 speed. So if you're playing along today, set your dials locked on 1.5 speed.
1.5, that's the speed you want.
A 1.5. If you want to fall really behind, set it to 0.5 and see where you're going to end up there. If you want to really
want to break your brain.
I suppose what you could do, and this would be some really like Galaxy Brain maths, like you could set the podcast to 0.5 and set the show that you're watching to 0.75. And then I think we'd meet in the middle somewhere. So, yeah.
I think it would be like that scene in Time Cop where he goes back in time and the guy meets himself and then they just dissolve into a big red puddle of stuff. Something like that.
Is Time Cop Jean-Claude Van Damme or is it...
Yes.
Yes.
I mean,
right.
we.
He's Belgian, right? So it might be Flemish. Is that how that works? Anyway, it's the one where he jumps up onto the kitchen cabinets in the splits to avoid the electricity.
It's that Jean-Claude Van Damme movie where he does the splits. That narrows it down.
Okay.
Anyway, we're not watching that.
Speaking of cool guys.
Or Street Fighter or JCVD or any of those.
No.
We're not watching anything starring Mr. VD. We're actually watching Drive to Survive. So we're up to episode 8 in season 4. Now, the thing is, we're speeding up our watching this week, but we are also... Well, we're going to try, because we're podcast daredevils, we're going to try and do 2 episodes. So 1.5 speed, but 2 episodes. So that seems fair. That's a fair gambit on our point, I'd say.
Yeah, man, we should have chatted pre-show for ages and should have just gone straight into this, because this is going to be hours and hours of podcasting. But you know what? That's fine. Speaking of the Iceman, JCVD, and all that kind of stuff, this episode is Dances with Wolf, which is what a great pun there. Well done. Well, I don't know what they're going to do next season when there's an episode that is about Toto Wolff, and they're like, what other wolf puns can we do? And like, Alpha.
What other ones are there?
Like,
there's
Dire Wolf.
Like, there's Werewolf of London.
Yeah, Wolf of Wall Street, obviously, but more like
Wolf of Wall Street.
Rude, whatever.
Go.
In they got to be crappier. Anyway, we'll do a whole episode of coming up with better titles for next season as they drop. Tune in for that. Today, this episode is about Valtteri Bottas. This is pre-glow up, everybody. This is before... Have we even talked about this? We should talk about this.
We haven't.
Can we
maybe,
talk about this now?
After the Australian Grand Prix, maybe?
Okay.
I don't know.
Fine. It might not be as good by then, but I mean, anyway... If you don't know what's happening to Valtteri Bottas, if you've been under,
I reckon
go look at his Instagram.
We're going to be looking a lot. We're going to be looking a lot at him, and you'll have ample opportunity to bring it up. I reckon.
Okay, good. Okay, are you? So you dials 1.5 speed.
Yes.
Lock it in, Eddie. God, who am I? Rob. Anyway.
You're going to give us a countdown.
Yeah,
you're going to give us a countdown. And everyone watching who wants to sink along can sink along. And other than that, we're just going to talk.
It's a sink along. All right, in 3, 2, 1. Dun dun, or should I say dun? Because we're at 1.5 speed.
Ba-bum, dun.
God, this is so long ago. Monaco, race 1. Look at him. Who is this
Remember
chump?
that? Yeah, I don't know. I don't really trust him. I don't know what it is about him, but he's got a shifty vibe, eh?
It looks like a potato.
Not Bottas, the other guy.
Oh, I thought Bottas. I think he looks like Mr. Potato Head, but that's not his fault. It's pre-glow up.
He's getting older, and that baby face that he used to have is fading.
He's no longer a smooth, small new potato. He's becoming what is another potato variety?
His neck is wide. His eyes keep sinking deeper into his skull or something. Like, just less baby-like.
Yeah.
What an experience watching a show in 1.5x. Do you ever watch anything in 1.5x?
You know what I do watch in 1.5x? Webinars. Work meetings that have been recorded, or any instructional video.
Did that today as well.
I'm always I can watch this course video in 2 times speed. Yes, please. Because they're always so slow.
Especially
anyway.
if you're like, I know, and you're like, I know half of this anyway. You're really just complimenting what I know. This is just like adding that 1%.
Get to the content.
So we're seeing the titular dancing wolf here, and I guess this is like there's lots of drivers around. What the heck are Mercedes going to do, eh? They're going to stick with Valtteri or
Grussel?
Is he going to be shown out the door? I think this is the episode, and we'll have to cover it when we get to it because it's a big plot point when Valtteri and Wolf are sitting down, and Wolf basically fires him, and at the end, Valtteri looks him in the eye and says, "Thank you." That's a great negotiator right there.
Let's have a little kiss.
This is too much.
Underwear with my face on it. George Russell, George Russell
looking
you
at...
did. Look someone's just sent me an image. I mean, and the cameras are right here.
No. Yeah, I'll just hold this phone in such a way that the camera can see it.
Yeah. Is there anything better than like Formula One drivers? Seemingly the only exercise we ever see them do is head strength, neck strength.
Yeah, because it starts off normal, jumping, stretching, lifting weights, neck stretching, as if people who don't know about F1, they must I've been to a gym before, I know all the neck stretching.
Oh my God.
Neck stretching.
Oh look, there's Capito, whatever his name is. He's no longer at Williams. He had
he's
1.5 seasons. Gonito, 2 seasons.
His
quite
season ran at 1.5 speed.
Yeah, his career was on double speed. He was never going to work. Williams is broken.
He wasn't a team principal. Though. He just looked like one.
Yeah,
I guess
interesting.
They've got that 30-year, 40-year pedigree to,
God, they never shut up about it, though, do they? Remember when we were good? The whole team stinks of remember when we were good.
Well, what else have they got to talk about?
Yeah, that's true. Well, they could be talking about, I don't know, maybe they spent more time developing their car and less time talking about how good we used to be. Maybe they'd be better.
Yeah.
I feel better now about being mean to Williams because it doesn't have Frank Williams or the Williams family at it anymore. So that makes it easier because I feel like I'm making fun of a brand and institution, not individual people.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah, I know what you mean.
He is sweary, those Finns, aren't they? Aren't they a bit sweary?
They have a crack. Old mate has a go. We're watching basically George Russell first race. Yes, Greg Russell having his first race at Mercedes, where he could have won, but
should have won.
Things didn't go his way. Should have won.
But Bottas got in the garage
But it
and cut
really-
the brake lines at the pit stop.
Yeah.
He was like, fuck you, no way.
There's just no chance. It was never going to not be him next in line at Mercedes after that drive.
Yeah, and he's good, you know. And we've got a penchant for the taller drivers. I like a tall F1 driver because it feels like they've got a bit of a handicap.
Who are the tallos? Ocon,
Yep.
Russell.
Weber used to be a tallo.
Weber was he had a bit of length to him, hey.
Speaking of tall people, do you want to indulge me for 1 second whilst we're watching this, not Formula One related? So, I live in North London, and I was walking down to meet a friend the other day, and I was walking through one of the parks, Highbury Fields, and I reckon Hugh Jackman ran past me. It was a tall
Famous runner, Hugh Jackman. It was definitely him.
Well,
I feel like
a tall man, a tall white man. So he ran past, and I was like, "Oh, God, look like Hugh
he's a
Jackman."
quadruple threat.
But was probably
sings,
a little
dances, and is tall.
and he's tall, and runs.
Hugh Jackman.
Are they
Huge
Sushi
Jackman.
Samba?
Wow.
I think there is Sushi Samba
you know-
in Heron Tower, which is actually Salesforce Tower.
Is that? So have you been there?
No, but I've been to the restaurant above
Looks
that.
great.
If that's where they are. Yeah, there's a restaurant on top of that called Duck and Waffle. It's open 24 hours a day.
I just love that flex. Yeah, I haven't been to that restaurant. I've been to the better one that's upstairs.
I actually don't think that's where they are, though. That's not where they are. They're somewhere else. They're on the wrong side of the river.
Back to Hugh Jackman.
Hugh Jackman.
The thing that
So I
I've
was like,
noticed,
this guy
whenever
was
I've
too
had
tall.
brushes,
And his head was is a bit bigger.
yes,
and so I was
too,
like,
too jacked.
what? Too jacked.
Was he too jacked?
No, he looked more
Yeah.
regular. So I Googled him and I was like, oh, no.
You see.
He is 6'3", and he does have a bit of an inflated forehead. And he isn't too jacked right now because he's going on a world tour as the greatest showman.
But wouldn't he be extra jacked for that?
No, I don't think so, because the greatest showman is about him just being in a suit and stuff. I don't think he needs to be Wolverine to do that.
I don't know. The thing I've noticed whenever I've had brushes with famous people is that there's like no doubt it's definitely that person. You know what I mean? Like you're too good looking, you are too muscular, you're too.
Well, he caught my
often very short.
attention. But I think that's why people like
okay.
Hugh Jackman, is that he looks a bit like an everyman. A little bit.
Does he though?
No, you're right.
Cut to like he's splashing out of the water, going shook.
Yeah.
I never. No, I don't think that once you're Wolverine, that never goes away. Oh, Wolf of Wolverine, Dances with Wolverine, Toto Wolverine.
Dances with
Did we get there? That's a pretty good crossover.
I'm going to write them up on the board, but I'm not going to write them in my book in pen just yet.
Yeah, we don't have to commit. There's no bad ideas.
No.
There's no bad ideas.
There's just
put
better
it all up there.
ideas. Yeah, I think that Toto will probably thinks of himself a little bit like the Wolverine of the grid.
It's like stalking his prey, or
Yeah, like he's tall and ripped, and
like
he showed Michael Massey, who was boss in the gym, didn't he? Get out of here, Michael.
Famously
Daddy
kept
time.
his composure. We'll see at the end of this season whether he keeps his composure. I was thinking of a wolf like controlling their heartbeat. Isn't that a thing they do? Like while they're stalking their prey, their heartbeat doesn't get too elevated or something. Isn't that a wolf thing?
Yeah,
It's got wolfy. It's got that wolfy vibe of truth about it.
He wishes he could do that, but instead he just wears his heart on his sleeve. He pretends like he doesn't, but he definitely does.
That's, you keep coming up with things where I'm like, there's something about this person I don't like, and I can't put my finger on it, but I think you've got it with Wolfie, is that with Papa Mercedes, Daddy Mercedes, that he just acts like he doesn't care when he clearly does care. And that's
all the time. Yeah.
It's okay to care, but just don't act like you're too cool,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Whereas the other guy, like, who's no longer, I was going to say no longer with us, but he's not dead. He's just not in Formula One anymore. But no,
he's passed on.
He was
Alfa Romeo.
he should have been panicking more. He should have been more angry and more annoyed. He was always just like, that's Formula One. It's like, no, it's not. It's you.
Clunkers, I tell you.
Big crash,
Yeah.
Rod. This is a big crash.
This was ridiculous. And
That was a
Bottas
bad
should have
one.
just been immediately fired.
Yes.
And it's exactly
much
true. The
debris.
point, and I'm sure
All
we'll
the
hear.
debris.
I'm sure we'll hear Wolf say it. Like, yes, there was the crash, but also, what the hell is Bottas doing when he's in the fastest car, hitting the guy in the least fastest car? Why are they on the same piece of track at the same time?
Don't go and get him.
I don't like this stuff. I don't like the drivers who go over and I'm like, you fucking...
Yeah, that's crap.
I don't like any of that.
Yeah, because you actually have no idea.
When you look back at it.
He did call you a CUNT.
No.
And stuck his finger at you because you were a bit of one of
Just
those.
say it. This is Dare to Swear, mate.
Yeah, but I'm saying what he said. Because Bottas said cunt, but then... Because of fucking...
I wasn't talking... I meant to Russell.
Because Tory Boy doesn't say that word. Oh, gee, it looks good though, doesn't it?
It looks worse.
Yeah.
When you hit the wall at 50 plus G, it's never nice. Like, I've never done it and thought, that was nice. Of all the times I've done it, which is, I don't know.
What history? What history do you have? Yes. You're insufferable.
Love this. Out of the blocks. Last year you came out strong saying you had a punchable face, and then you kind of walked that back a lot, and now we're fucking swinging again.
Didn't take long. I was like, yeah, we like him. He's tall. We like the tall drivers. Here we are. And then literally he says 4 sentences. Like, fuck this guy. I wouldn't be friends with you if you paid me. Anyway.
Cross the street, not to have to walk past you.
Oh, I mean, look, if I thought I saw him in the street, I don't think I would tell you. That's how little I give a shit about him now.
So speaking of seeing people in the wild, this has happened to me a couple of times. I think I said once on the show that I was at a train station and happened to look at this guy next to me, like on his podcast player, like playing a podcast, and it was an F1 podcast that wasn't ours.
Oh,
and I think I said, like, what would you do? Like, what would you do if that was, if that was you? Would you go like, oh, actually, you got the wrong one there. You should be on our one, mate.
Yeah, but how do you,
and I had it happen,
give them a link? How do you, what's the call to action?
Just airdrop everybody a link to the podcast. I don't know. Is that a thing you can do?
We used to know stuff like this. I think.
Yeah, so. I should ask someone who should ask me from 10 years ago. Anyway,
I think
obviously I do another
link.
podcast.
That's what people do.
Yeah. Oh, that's probably what we do. I do another podcast about another topic. But I was on the train the other day, guy in front of me reading a book by said person that I do the podcast about, and I was like,
why don't you mention this? Why
do I do here?
hiding?
What's going on here? Well, I mean, just because he reads a book doesn't mean he's going to like, my podcast or me or want me to talk to him. Like, that's the thing for me is like, I don't want to interrupt somebody who's just enjoying like trying to get through their morning. They're thinking like, oh, this again, here we go. And then I've come some rando and like, no, you don't want to listen to your fucking podcast. Go away. I don't want to be that
podcast about that band. They're my favorite band.
Yeah, that's
Listen to it.
You should. You like that. You like that. I like that too. Me, you and me as well. You and me.
Do you like Song Exploder? But imagine that all of their songs.
Oh gosh, I've had to try and teach my daughter how to make friends because she's an only child. She doesn't know how to play. Like, she has to learn that skill.
Sure.
And she's gotten a lot better at it, but now she's overcompensating. So we're at the pool the other day, and there was another girl, and they sort of locked eyes, and my daughter just said, "Do you want to be my best friend?" I was like, "That's so strong for an opening line." Just calm it down.
Like Jeremy
You're not
in
Hugh Jackman.
Peep Show.
You need to just go in slow.
Yeah, always just telling them that he loves them early to like lock them in. He's like, I feel it's a game changer.
So we're watching Everybody Loves George Russell. This is the section when they were writing it up on the whiteboard, all the beats. They were like, for this episode, we need the section where everybody loves George Russell.
Yeah. Oh my god! Like the smiles that they're all giving him. Like, you are the god. You're golden.
Isn't it?
No.
So don't go out and tell everybody you've signed for Mercedes, although you have.
Yeah. Oh, he really just...
I think the people the anoraks like us who are critical of this episode were like, it's quite manipulative because they had told him before some of the scenes in this show where they're making out like he doesn't know. They had told him that he was signed and he did know. And we'll get to the other scene later where Wolf and Russell are talking. But I'm not saying it was staged, but it's presented in a way that makes it seem like the reality of it is very different than the way it really was.
Yeah. That's the problem with these shows, right? Is that it's not staged enough that you can. It's not like the Kardashians. You can't just be like, oh, that's basically scripted with some
pretty much, yes,
with a little bit of unscriptedness, a little bit, and really hand up. I don't think this is like that, but it's probably more organized than fuck them all. I mean, come on, man. See,
too much coffee for you. Put down the espresso. See, I mean, there's two wolves in this shot. Why isn't it Dances with Wolves? Why is it Dances with Wolf? Or why isn't it just Dance with Wolf? The plural and singular doesn't work for me.
A single dance with wolf. Well, I suppose you can have multiple dances with one wolf. Or maybe he dances with Wolf. Who does he dance with? He dances with
I guess
Wolf.
he's dancing with Volteri and dancing with Russell. Is that the idea?
Well, no, yes. So from their points of view, so who does Valtteri dance with? He dances with Wolf.
We always
and
shit
who
on the
does...
episode title for being too simple and then we never understand it.
I think that's a sign that it's bad.
I agree.
That if you have to deconstruct... What do they say? If you have to explain the joke, it's not a good joke?
Yes.
Is Valtteri that good of a driver? Where do you fall out on this conversation now? Like, this whole episode's about Valtteri. It doesn't really matter, right? He's not good. He wasn't good enough for Mercedes. He's pretty good. Formula One's full of people who are pretty good. They're like, I would expect you to be pretty good to be in Formula One.
I think the problem is he just wasn't not good enough because they wanted the Valtteri that was good enough but not a threat to Lewis. And then the problem that Valtteri made for himself was he just wasn't even coming in consistently second and just
he stopped being
did
good
himself
enough.
out of the job. Yeah. By good enough, I mean just good enough.
Yeah. Yeah. But also, like, finally somebody else got good enough to actually challenge them. Like, I think Hamilton would have won all those championships without Bottas. I don't think they even needed another guy. They could have fucking Toto in the car. They were so much quicker than everybody for so many years that anyone could have taken that second thing. It was good that it was Bottas because he was particularly good and was also happy to just do whatever that they asked him to. And then eventually when it became a bit like, well, you know what, we can't gift you a few race wins every year. You're actually going to have to compete against Verstappen and Perez and some other people. It's actually going to be a bit harder. They were like, I think he's not quite good enough, but either is Lewis.
You're spot on. I agree with everything you're saying, except that perspective is in hindsight. And I'm saying when they sign drivers and keep drivers, they're projecting forward. So they want to minimize the risk as much as possible. That's all.
Yeah, and they're really annoyed that Valtteri's had this amazing brand glow up and he's not at the team anymore.
Just missed the boat by just 1 year. Is he the new, like, Daniel Ricciardo? Like, is he going to become the sort of bogan larrikin, doesn't take himself seriously, grows a mullet, grows a mustache, drinks beer with his initials on it? That's the worst beer in the world.
Yeah. Maybe. I don't...
Because we've lost, like, Norris has gone to water and Ricciardo's basically gone. As good as gone.
I just don't think that Bottas... You know how we're talking about Toto? That Toto's like, oh, there's Tom Cruise, yay. You know how Toto, we were saying, like, oh yeah, it's because he wears his heart on his sleeve, except when he's like being interviewed or pieced to camera or something, right?
Right.
But I think Bottas is a little bit similar too. Like, yeah, fuck him. Like, I'm in the spa naked. Like, whatever. I'm just like a cool guy, whatever. But I'm really focused on winning all of the time. Actually, like, I desperately need to do really well.
You're right.
So, you know. I don't think it's quite like Raikkonen was racing for fun. I don't think Valtteri is that. I think Valtteri feels a little slighted. Like Valtteri, it's almost like he stepped out of the cult recently. Like he's like, yeah, cool. So I wasn't that guy. Like I was brainwashed, and now I'm actually a cool guy. You know, I divorced my wife. I've changed teams. I've had a big life change. I divorced my wife. That's not this. I split up with my wife. You know, they split up. He's got his new partner. He's got new teams. He's got new challenges. He's like a new guy, and he like wants to reinvent himself and like put the kind of Mercedes part of his career behind him. I think a little bit because it has really defined his career. But I don't think talking about like I think he's look. he could look back at that and be like, oh, I didn't expect my career to go that way. Like, I went to Mercedes because you can't turn them down when they come to you, but then you also have to be very clear that you're signing up for the number 2 driver job and that it was never going to happen. Maybe he thought that Hamilton would retire at some point and he could be the number 1 guy for a little while. Maybe, get the Massa arc a little bit at some point, but he never did.
Yeah, or there's the Rosberg scenario as well that could happen. But I mean, there's the other side of that, the Webber Ricardo arc, which seemed to go on for, I don't know, 15 years. Yeah. And it's like, look, sometimes you sign up to be number 2 and you there's a good likelihood you will just always be number 2, and that's just it. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what he was thinking, but I'm sure he thought, I'm just going to go out and give it my best. And if things go my way, great. If they didn't, I do my best.
Well, yeah.
What else can you do?
Would you rather? Like, it's tricky, right? Like, you're in a pretty good position to have to think about what kind of Formula One career you want. And after a few years of being at Mercedes and winning races and stuff, in the last decade, there aren't many race winners. So to be I'm one of those guys. You've got this brilliant set of credentials that you can take to any team and be like, hey, by the way, but I won a lot of the time. But I don't think that people sit around being like, yeah, Valtteri Bottas. Yeah, he was one of the good ones. I think they're just like, oh, well, in the days that Hamilton didn't win, he won. How good actually is he? I don't think that Red Bull was itching to sign him when they signed Perez.
Yeah.
Or that Ferrari were ever going to look at him, or I don't know, Aston Martin didn't look to get him either. They went with someone like Vettel. I mean, I know Vettel's a world champion or whatever, but Bottas is available. Is he better than bringing in Fernando Alonso, for example? Why don't people think that? Bottas is younger, more successful in recent years, but for some reason, maybe Formula One don't really think of him in that way. Maybe he is more of a Grosjean than he is anything else.
So here's a question for you off the top of your head. Who has more race wins, Daniel Ricciardo or Valtteri Bottas?
Bottas. Was that right?
Yeah, but it's pretty close. Bottas,
really?
10 wins, Ricciardo 8.
Only 10?
Yeah.
It's been trickier these last 2 years.
How about them apples?
Yeah. I mean, they are of the same class. As in, both of them kind of came up at the same time. They both were at teams that were kind of on the upswing, and before they made their big moves.
That's true, except that one was at a team that won everything for 7 years.
Yeah, I was talking just before that. Actually,
I mean, not saying he was there for all 7, but yeah.
And there's only so much challenging you can do, right? When Lewis Hamilton's your other guy. I mean, this is one of these episodes, though, right? Where what's the point here? I know maybe this is post hoc analysis, but Russell was we all knew, as you said earlier, when he raced in Abu Dhabi, that final race. We're like, oh yeah, of course he'll just go to there's the glimmer of the future. That's who they got in when Thingy couldn't race. There was a seat available. They put him in. And he almost won. He's definitely going to be the Mercedes driver. It's just about when. And so I don't really know what this episode doesn't show us anything about the inner workings of Formula One. It's just exactly what it is. It's exactly how we expected it to go down. I suppose it's a little bit more of an insight into Bottas of Bottas, what's he going to do to save his Formula One career? It's he's had an amazing Formula One career. What will happen is he'll just go to a lesser team. That's just how it will go. I don't think there's a huge story here, and that was a bit of the story of this season, right? That there's just quite a bit of filler. Norris.
I was going to say, doesn't Norris bin it badly here?
Yeah, it's a bad binning.
This is at Spa when it's pouring rain, and Norris spins around about 20 times. Incredible.
Why is he calling red flag? It's the team knows. He's fine.
I guess they're they're like talking to or listening to the drivers for them to report on conditions and whatever. And the drivers may know that they're listening out for feedback from the drivers about that.
I don't think you're really thinking about much at all, George, most of the time. It's fine.
Even when you're not on the track.
Even when you're on the track, it's like...
Do you ever have that when you're driving and you just sort of you sort of go into autopilot driving mode and you're sort of turning and speeding up and slowing down and checking your mirrors, but you're not consciously driving.
You're not racing?
What if you find drivers get like that? Just zone out. There's 10 laps there. I have no idea. Just nothing. I don't remember anything.
It's probably much easier. There are some tracks that must happen, right? Where you just kind of like, well, for the next little while, for the next 20 laps, I've just been told to race the Delta 125 or whatever. Let's just do that. And it's like nice weather and stuff. Yeah, I think it'd be pretty easy.
Well, when you're changing on the beeps as well, it probably happens a lot, right?
Yeah, that's true.
Because that would become quite rote, like just when you hear beep, left, right,
And they know the tracks inside out, right? They can drive them with their eyes closed. P2. Ooh. Stonking. I don't like the word stonking.
Yeah. Stonking. What's wrong with stonking?
I just don't. Doesn't
it's
sit
very
right
British.
with me. Yeah.
It's like those letters that have no business being so close to each other.
Stonk. Stonks. Stonking.
Sounds like stroking. It's not good.
It's a made-up word. That's why I don't like it. I suppose they're all made up, but
I only prefer words that pre-exist humans.
Yeah. Canonical words, intrinsic words.
I mean, like, if it's not Sanskrit, then get out of my face.
Yeah, everyone knows that rock is a rock. It sounds like a rock. That's what it was called before we came around and named it. We discovered the name. We didn't create the name. Did Will Buxton?
So what was that fist bump there about?
Yeah,
so
that's what I mean.
George Russell walks past, fist bumps Buxton, and then walks off. What is that about?
You're not.
I mean, it's congratulations, but it's also like, I'm not going to talk to you right now.
Stop congratulating people. You're a journalist.
Well, I mean, he's high-fiving everyone, to be fair.
No, George Russell can high-five whoever he likes. So Buxton, he's an impartial journalistic entity with integrity. He should be like, yes, you came second. How do you feel? Not, congratulations. You're amazing. We love you. What an outstanding performance. Finally, you've come. What does that mean, Toto? Finally, you have come.
One of the F1 journalists said, "Oh, you know that scene where Russell and Toto are talking? Here's a photo that I took of them talking. Like, it wasn't secret. They're sort of like behind some sheds or whatever.
And you're both
This
mic'd
is what
up.
Makes me think this may be quite staged for the cameras.
Emotional
Yeah, you got
music,
mics on, exactly. And he doesn't say, I've decided to sign you for Mercedes. He says, your teammate will be Lewis Hamilton. As if, like, we've signed you for Mercedes and I just have to work out who the teammate is. We decided to stick with Lewis.
Actually, we know that's not great for you.
So at the end of episode 1, how are you feeling? You're having a great time.
Yeah, I'm having a good time. I might need a break.
So listener, we've decided it's official. We're going to take a little break. If you want to have a little break, we're going to keep you entertained with a little bit of a tune here. But other than that, we're just going to go have a quick wee or poo break. Maybe grab a cup of tea, and then we'll be back with some more Dare to Swear soon.
All right. Woohoo. We should do it.
Right.
We should get on to the next episode. Gloves are off. 40 more minutes of
Gloves
this.
are off. How good was that music, though, by the way?
1.5 speed. Oh, it was so good.
I mean, I'm stretching. I've got a huge rubber band stretching my neck, my watching neck, so I can watch through another episode of this. We're going to, again, 1.5x, we're going to blow through this. If you want to sync up again, Zach will give you the countdown. Also from me. And one more to go. Gloves are off. I wonder whose gloves, and I wonder what off means, metaphorically speaking.
Well, It's all to come, right? Like, what do you think? The gloves are off. I'm going to hit play. Let's do the countdown. We can talk about it. Okay.
Let's do that.
3. Are you on 1.5 speed, everybody, including you, co-host and friend?
Check.
I would say. In 3, 2, 1. Dun. Much faster. Dun. That's how you know.
Dun. Watching the show. The show that people are calling Drive to Survive.
Tense music.
Lots of Horner, lots of
That
Wolf.
is the show.
This is. I mean, we were going to say what the episode's about. This is setting up the final episode. That's basically it.
52 minutes of setting up the last episode.
In the last episode, I mean, this is basically like if you were going to make a documentary about that season, against especially that rivalry, that would be 2 hours. And we probably get 2 hours in these last 2 episodes nearly, so... This is Act 1.
Shocked, gasping.
And then the next episode, I think, is called...
the gloves are back on, actually, so we can have a real fight.
Yeah, put them back on so that we could take them back off again. What's the idea of gloves off? Is it like, I'm going to slap you with the gloves, or is it like boxing?
No. The boxing gloves are off. Now it's a bare knuckle fight. Now we're trying to hurt each other. Yeah, now it's a bare knuckle fight. The gloves are off. Now it's not a...
Intro of Street Fighter 2...
We're not playing by the rules anymore. Like, this is a backstreet, back alley.
I think this is a fisticuffs. Yeah. Like, we're out of polite. We're taking ourselves out of the polite, sort of chivalrous aristocracy situation into some kind of, behind the, what would you call it? Behind the speakeasy. Gloves neatly folded and put down in the pile.
There's no referee here.
Bash each other's faces in. There's no referees here. That they've like my teammate is distracting them. They're suitably distracted, and now I'm going to wallop you with a chair or a table.
Bottas and Russell are in the other room.
So this is all the things. This is all the stuff. This is Bottas is out there just trying to distract him. George Russell doing a much better job. This is going to be like the scenes, people talking, and all of the best bits. Lewis versus Verstappen, the best bits. We've already seen the crash at, is it Monza? And then we've seen the crash that they had at Silverstone. So there's a real, like, who's to blame? And there's an escalation. It's like an arms race that's going on. I was going to say, and I was going to ask you this question in the last episode.
The sleeves are off.
When it was more focus on Toto. Wouldn't it have been... The snibs are off. Wouldn't it have been better to have fewer talking head shots of Toto like this and have more shots where it's candid, him in motion, just watching him do stuff. And like it's like the more talking heads you get of him, the less mystery builds around him or something. Almost like keeping him at arm's length would have generated a bit more of a mystique around him, something like that.
Well, yeah, I mean, this was the season where it became the team principal show. It became the Horner and Wolf show. And then also all the, like, Zach Brown and then Gunter Stein. Like, they all looked at Gunter and was like, wow, what a personal brand you created. I too could create personal brand. Well, especially for Christian Horner as well, because nobody else at Red Bull is saying anything. So he is Red Bull.
That's basically true.
And Verstappen is his plaything. He's his pawn in the ever-long battle of, is Red Bull a serious Formula One team? Do they have Formula One pedigree, history, and legacy? Or are they just bad boys from an energy drink company who got lucky for a few seasons with cheating double diffusers and aerodynamics that the institutions wanted to shut down? Like, it's... I don't know. Like, there's a bit of, we've said this before about Horner, there's a bit of holier than thou, like, I see Formula One for what it really is, and we're the upstarts. It's like, no, you're part of the ruling class of Formula One now. You have been for a long time. But, you know, Mercedes can still walk into a room and be like, yeah, but you don't even know how to build a car, though, do you?
Yeah. Hornier than thou, some people say. Not me. But
very good. Very good.
Lots of, like, the guy who does the graphics of the, like, colour bar and then the points changing, like, he earned his money this episode.
Yeah, he really did. He really did. I don't know, the graphics on this show aren't quite as good as maybe I expect them to be, but maybe they don't need to be. I think that they're just... Yeah. Do
But
you
turned
think
it back,
that people...
Turned it right back.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's true. But now I just feel like it's so out of order now. Like, it just really feels like episodes like 2 to... What episode is this? 9 have just been all over the shop.
Yeah.
Like, there's no through story.
It is.
There is no, like, chronology to the show. It's just like, here's this guy's story, and we're just going to grab a whole bunch of clips from all the times from the season that he was part of the story. And here it is. It's tricky. It's a tricky show to make. I know. They're doing the best of what they got.
I don't know. I mean, this is season 4, and you'd like to think, I mean, even if people are watching an episode, watching a season, you'd like to think they remember something that happened in the previous episode or 2 episodes ago. You don't have to keep holding their hand as much as they do now. And, I mean, things just get so jumbled, and they're traveling across the world, and it's like, oh, these bad things happen. Well, 9 months happened between those 2 things. It's just grates on me.
Yeah, I know what you mean. There is... Also, I think you lose a sense of place as well. I don't feel like we get... You've heard me talk about this before with Formula 1. So much of the reason why I personally love Formula 1 is because of the places it goes to. And a lot of the time, there's just... Formula 1 is taking more of that away, I think, in its broadcast and making things a little more the same, because Formula 1 is becoming more sophisticated, that like what you need to do to put on a race is have things be as consistent as possible between places. So it's like you get less of the place unless you actually go to the race, right? But as a viewer, it's not really as much about the place that it's in. It's more about the narrative of the racing, like what's going to happen this weekend. And then I think the show does that a bit too. Like the paddock always kind of just looks the same, because it is pretty much. You know, it's just a bunch of caravans and some officers and some guys in shirts walking around. There's no like, here we are in Bahrain, and like here's some shots of the area and the people, and like here are the drivers out doing things in those locations. It feels like there's been less of that. I mean, I know this season had a little bit of the like, here's Gunter and Michael Schumacher doing Aldi ads or whatever they were. At least those were that.
Oh, remember that? Better times.
Yeah, exactly. But there's only so many shots of like, guy doing neck exercises, then piece to camera telling us what we should know, and then man walking through paddock talking to co-worker.
We need to acknowledge the incredible flex from Susie Wolf there, which is like, I can understand why Christian Horner is so annoyed, because like we've won everything for so many years. Like you can't even count them on one hand, that we just fucking dominated, like made everyone look like fucking fools basically. For just decades it feels. And he must be so sick of that.
Yeah, he must just be sick of being such a loser, probably, and that everyone can see it.
When you lose as much as he has lost, when you're like just quantifiably a loser to the degree that he is.
Yeah, when you get up every day and go, here we go again, we're going to lose.
We look in the mirror and just think, fucking, how am I going to get through this one where I lose again?
Yeah, that could be grating. I could see why you'd be tired of that.
I can see. Yeah, I don't know. Like when you do that, do you get tired of that?
I could see how you that might push you over the edge.
Can relate. So relatable.
Shit. Yeah.
I mean, talk about things that are put on for the cameras. This is a shot of Wolf and Horner in a press conference, literally in front of cameras that we're watching additional footage of. We're watching them put it on for the cameras, just from like there's another layer added again.
Okay. So he just explained the whole thing to us.
Gloves are off.
It was at the Olympics.
Now I get it.
With gloves, and now it's MMA. Now it's like you're trying to hurt each other,
He said it's
not
MMA,
win.
so gloves are off.
Did you say eat my ass?
If you were boxing... No, didn't he say I don't kiss ass? Something like that?
Oh, right.
I mean, I know eating ass is like the flavor of the day these days, but like I just don't think that would even fly, even on Drive to Survive. That's just a bit much.
After dark.
Like Netflix would be like, I think we have to cut that.
I think it's a real power move if you're a guy. I think there's something about the fact that Toto Wolff was just using an iPad Pro with a keyboard. It's like, I
noticed that.
I'm so not in the weeds. I'm so not executional. I don't even need a proper computer. I just work on an iPad. Like, it's the I don't even need a computer. I just have a phone. And everybody else does the hands-on work. And I just talk to them. I just tell them what to do. I make important calls. I don't go and do work.
Do my bidding. I'm too busy winning.
Yeah, too busy winning and looking good. I like hearing Lewis in 1.5 speed. That's fucking bullshit. Oh, this is so broken as well. Like, it's become such a... Like, the gloves aren't off because they're trying to score cheap points against each other all the time. I think the gloves are firmly on. That's the problem with Formula One all the time, is that even the real argy-bargy is like, he came over to my car and called me a C-U-N-T. It's like, well, he didn't actually punch him, though, did he? Like, where's the... Like, that guy in go-karting who, like, you know, got out of the car and, like, seriously, like, floored the guy. If that actually happened, what would Drive to Survive would have to do 6 episodes on that. Like, imagine if Russell had walked over to Bottas's car after that crash and, like, dragged him out of the car, like, shoved him up against the tires and went, "You fucking can't," and then just, like, that would be television. Oh, no. Cameraman. I saw that happen at the tennis recently. My cameraman was walking back into a person. Yeah.
Ooh. There you go. What was that thing at the cricket recently? They had that spider cam that knocked over the fielder or something? That was ridiculous.
Oh, yeah.
Why are we wasting our time looking at, like, Verstappen and Perez? Like, what have they got to do with anything? Get back to Horner. I want to know what he thinks about things. I want to know what strained genital pun he's going to come up with. Like, I'm not saying I'm checking the timestamp to see where we're at, but I am a little bit doing that because I feel like we're settling in now for a long stint that's going to be all about this race.
You know, you said in the part 1 of this podcast that the idea of kind of going in autopilot, I feel a little bit like I'm on autopilot with this episode. I'm trying to find things to discuss. I was even just going to say, I was literally, I held it back, but I was like, night racing's pretty good, isn't it? Like, that's cool. Actually, speaking of night racing,
Sparks are good.
We saw each other in Australia, and I did a 3-day stopover in Singapore.
Spoiler
on the
alert.
way home.
Yeah.
And stayed at the same hotel we stayed at when we went to Singapore together.
Yes.
10 years ago. And walked around some of the places we'd been to. And it was a nice little reminder of the time we shared in Singapore at the Singapore Grand Prix. And it made me want to go back. And it was nice remembering how we could do Singapore stuff all day and then go to the Formula One in the night. Like, that's so good. How good is night racing?
Yes, so true. So true. And it's also good just to have that, like, that's what we're doing. Like, what are we doing tonight? I think we've locked it in. The reason we're here, go see Formula One.
Yeah. Do you want to go to a Formula One race tonight? Yeah, actually, let's do that.
And then I think, was it Robbie Williams and then J-Lo? I think they were also there, but whatever.
Some drinks on the marina. All those nice things. Up the Singapore Flyer. Go do.
I was thinking about... I've been seeing a friend of mine's post on Instagram because she's in Vancouver, and it made me think, when I was in Vancouver, I ate so much salmon because it's the best salmon I've ever had in Vancouver. And then it made me think, and then the other thing is when you're in Singapore, you get that crab. Crab everywhere, and it's delicious.
That's true. You do. It is delicious.
This is not stellar watching, but at least it's going at 1.5 speed. Like, it could be worse.
The cars look very fast. So there's that clapping, actually. That's great.
This is why it feels anticlimactic, because it's like, the thing is done. Oh, it's Friday.
Look at them. Quick. Analyze all the tape. Does this seem staged to you?
I don't know. I mean, I don't get the vibe that it's staged.
Why would Lewis be involved in that? Like, why is he reviewing footage? He's not in charge. He's not going to file the complaint.
Doesn't he just do that anyway?
But doesn't he have anything else to do?
This is where we got remember Horner making that, like, we had a rogue steward throwing a yellow flag? That thing where, like, all the systems were, like the systems weren't officially yellow, but someone was waving someone, so technically you're meant to obey the wave if you see it, but
it wasn't real, and Verstappen knew that in his heart. could tell that guy was wrong.
Yeah. I mean, I know you used to play basketball. I did too. And I used to try and get my friends to get into it. And they were like, it's too technical. There's like just things that happen. And I'm like, I don't even know what's going on. It's so technical. And this feels like one of those things that's like, get into Formula One. It's really good. What happened? Oh, well, this guy lost because someone waved a flag. It's like, what?
Someone waved a flag. Yep. I remember the first time I was watching a Super Bowl. And I watched the referee throw up flags during the play to be like, I saw a thing that I think is an infraction, but we'll come back to that unless they score or something. Like they're like technical fouls or something. Any American who's listening to this being like, you have no fucking clue. And it's because that's a complicated sport. Yeah. It spends more time getting organised than actually playing the game. But I can see why people like it because it's so technical. And Formula One's got all of that too, right? You know, it's got a broad audience because some people really like the technicalities of this. And I think this is why this is a difficult show to make. Because sometimes the drama does come from the technicalities of the sport and they don't want to hide away from that. But really, I think a lot of people, and this is what I was going to ask you earlier actually, do you think that Formula One has maybe used up all of its personality or politics or like, isn't this so interesting? Do you think people will lose a bit of interest now? Because it's kind of like, well, there's nothing left to show in the back workings of the paddock. Like, everyone kind of knows now how it works. So there's not as much to reveal, especially for the new viewer. Like, if you go back and you're like, oh, I'm going to get into Formula One this year. Everyone says Drive to Survive so great. I'm going to watch the first 4 seasons. By the time you get them to season 5, you'd be like, oh, yeah, I kind of know how all those things go down. Like, is it more like reality TV show as opposed to documentary about racing and Formula One teams?
I mean, I think the experience of the person watching this season and then going, oh my God, I can't wait to find out what happens at the start of this year. Lewis Verstappen rivalry, that was really hot. It's like, well, yeah, but that was 12 months ago.
Yeah.
So they're having that reality TV type experience where they've watched a season and then they reach the climax of the season and like, I'm so amped for what's next. And it's like, yeah, but that's all played out.
Yeah, it's very odd, isn't it? It's a new kind of thing. It's not either of them.
Yeah, but when you were saying that before about the approach to the show and exposing the technicalities and stuff, I feel like the goal of the show used to be expanding on the stories that we know, or maybe telling us a few stories we don't know, but using the access they've got to just flesh it out and really heighten it. Now it feels like they're kind of basically making up stories or 55 minutes about some technical thing about a flag being flown. It's like, well, it's just not interesting.
Yeah, I think a lot of the stuff I was very interested in when the show started was like, how do Formula One teams run? How does this all work? And I feel like I've learned a bit of that. Maybe the show feels like, we showed off all of that. Like, what people like is the drama. So we've got to add more drama. And sometimes it's not that dramaful. And also I think some of the teams have wised up too. They're like, oh, this is a PR exercise. So the real drama, we're going to choose to show that when it suits us and puts us in a good light. Like, I don't think anybody comes out of this season looking bad, but they should. Do you know what I mean? Like, some people... for example, we just watched that Russell Bottas Dances with Wolf episode. No one comes out of that particularly scathed, because there wasn't really much there to it. Bottas wasn't the right fit anymore. Here he is, saying he's got bad luck. And he thinks that maybe the team is against him. The team's obviously not against him, but they know that it's done. Look, they're having a big cuddle now. It's like, I'm sorry you had bad luck. He's like, no, there is no such thing as bad luck. And then as soon as Toto turns up, he's like, I know all the bad luck. Oh, all right, chill. And Toto's like, I know, that sucks. So that's all kind of a bit of bullshit too. So, like, what is it? Oh, here we are.
It's because when you have a good villain, they have to have clear evil motives, and I mean, like you say, who comes out looking bad from this? Bottas does, but not in an evil motive way. You just didn't have the skill sort of way.
Yeah.
As if if you were having this kind of interaction with Toto, as if you would go for sparkling water, like.
This is staged.
Joke about...
Right? There's no, they would have been like, cool, so you're going to have to break up with Valtteri. We could do that like in the paddock where you would usually do it. Or what would you usually do here? Well, we might go out for dinner or we'll do something in the factory. But it's like, why don't you have him around to your flat in Monaco, actually? And it'll be like...
well, I've heard that he does that,
old friends.
For contract negotiations, he apparently does that. He just like camps out at someone's house for like a day or 2 or 3 until the contract is sorted. But I don't know if you do it in this environment. Maybe you do. I don't know. Would they have offices in Monaco? Or are there apartments just like where it all happens? Can you rent a WeWork in Monaco and just be like, look, we have to have a conversation. HR, they'll be watching. They'll be present.
I suppose notionally, but that's what I found odd there too. Like, why was Valtteri wearing all the Mercedes stuff? Like, if it's just 2 mates hanging out on a Sunday, like, hey, let's have that chat about their careers over at Mercedes. Point. Like, why is he all there in his gear? So
that's an interesting point. Isn't. Have you ever had work branded like T-shirts and stuff?
Yeah, you both have.
A friend of mine, I know. Well, yeah, fair enough. I used to work at a place where we got these work-branded shirts for everybody, T-shirts, and then a friend of mine went on a holiday to Japan, and he, for whatever reason, took his work-branded T-shirt and wore it, and all the holidays, he's like holiday photos, and he's wearing this like...
He's in a work T-shirt.
Corporate, like his work shirt, just like as if it was just like, I don't know, I just grabbed a shirt. Like, I mean... we're going to look back on those holiday photos all the time and think, oh yeah, I used to work at that place. Like, is that what you want from me? I love
Company X.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I had that coming to Australia.
I actively avoid that.
I have to get a new cap. Oh, I got this work cap that I could wear that's branded with my work. And I was like, no, I don't want to be in all of my photos and like wear my work cap everywhere. I want to like,
put it on every day
for like going to work. Here we go again. Yeah. No. But more like, yes. But no, more like, yeah, there's a place for that. But then again, I think, I just don't believe that Valtteri Bottas would have got up that day and gone, well, what T-shirt will I wear? Well, I've only got Mercedes-branded T-shirts.
Flipping through his
all I own is Petronas T-shirts.
The white one with the boss logo, the white one with the boss logo, another the white one with the boss logo, the black one with the white boss logo.
Yeah.
Petronas.
Should I wear teal, white, or black today? These are my choices every time. No, I mean, he's sponsored by Hugo Boss. Like, he should have a cupboard full of shirts, like I'm sure Toto Wolff does. Like, and he was wearing one. Yeah. It's really weird. And does, like, when you find out you're being fired, does then Toto go like, cool, so I'm glad you wore your work gear today because I'll need to take that from you. Hand over your badge and garments.
Hand over your badge. I've bought a box, put everything in there. Where you think you're going with that shirt?
We've got an unbranded set of overalls here for you that you can go home in, and an unbranded car. It's a Seat, just nothing. Like, it's just
so that's
all the
it.
badges have been
After
taken
4 years of service, goodbye, good luck.
Yeah.
I don't remember saying good luck.
Yeah, I deleted you from my phone.
Watching this episode the first time was when I learnt what this race was like, because hashtag boycott Saudi Arabia.
Oh yeah, we could have boycotted this whole episode. They would have saved us some time.
Yeah, watch it. Is there anything higher than 100x?
They're sponsoring. They're being the main sponsor, Saudi Arabia, of the Women's World Cup in Australia and New Zealand. Women's Soccer World Cup, Football World Cup, which I think is an interesting choice from that. Yeah, fuck that for a joke. God, he does hit a lot of walls, doesn't he? This Max Verstappen character. Would you be a double fist on the... I think if you hit the toe with both fists and like go full body throw up arms, like it's very like primal.
Yeah, I don't know. I just don't know. There was this like one of those sort of, I don't know, not quite clickbaity, but like a very social media thing. It was a very online thing. Like, score 1 point for all of these things that you've done.
Oh, yeah,
gone to a race in another country, screamed at the TV when something good happened, that kind of stuff. Because I've screamed at the TV when something good happened when I was watching F1, but it's been a long time.
Yeah.
So the idea of like, what would I do? If I was in that team, would I be the jump up and down, punch the air, clap my hands, punch each other on the back kind of guy? Or would I just be cool? Like, yeah, okay, well, let's wait till we win or whatever. Don't know.
I was thinking, yeah, no, I know what you mean. Sorry, Horner was just saying something. They're like, oh, if you hadn't crashed, it would have been like a stonking lap, like that would 4/10 faster. You were doing so well. It's like, man, maybe he was doing so well because he was driving in a reckless manner that he would have crashed. Yeah, that's exactly it, right? Oh, if only you hadn't fucked it up, it would have been so good. It's like, yeah, but the reason it was so fast is because of that. You know, like it would be me. Yeah. Like if I run one really fast kilometer, just like as fast as I can. And then they're like, wow, if you could only just do that for a whole marathon, you'd be like the best in the world. It's like, yeah, but that's the point. I can't.
I can't do that. Take the hint.
Yeah, you can't drive that fast and then expect not to crash. Come on. I know more about driving than Max Verstappen. This is known. I've watched a lot of Formula One. I was watching Formula One before he was born. Okay? Yeah. What does he even think he knows about it?
Even at 1.5x, some of those slow-mos are just excruciating.
Oh. I'm getting a little bit excited about Formula One coming back, though, actually. Would you prefer that there were 23 episodes for Drive to Survive, and they're all like 25 minutes each? So it's in total maybe the same amount of runtime for a whole season, but they just race by race. And they just do it in chronological order. So you get a little bit of each team every time. Or even in batches, but at least there's some sense.
I don't know. I mean, I feel like I would like that, but maybe I wouldn't. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I think in theory what I want is this show, but better. The better version of this show.
Yeah, exactly. What I'd like is for more of this, but for it to be more high quality. But I don't think they've got enough to go on.
I want the Toto Wolff version of this show. I feel like I'm getting the Christian Horner version of this show.
I wonder if the average runtime of these episodes has gone up. You reckon I can Google that while we're watching it? Drive to Survive.
Everyone, Zach is checking out.
Runtimes.
Get your spreadsheets going. Get your macros ready. I would say definitely average episode length for this season, much higher. I don't know if that's a trend.
Is Drive to Survive exaggerated? What time is Drive to Survive on? Who's Googling that? What time is Drive to Survive on?
What time is it on? Pretty sure you stream it whenever you want, mate. It's not appointment viewing. We're not in the monoculture here.
I don't know. What time is it on? Wow. Why is this link? Oh, IMDb. Right. Okay. Cool. Show me all the episodes.
Whoa. Action. Zach, stop what you're doing. Action on the screen everywhere. This car's going nuts.
Wow. So many crashes. This is Formula One.
That's fine. You only caught the end of it. You got like 10% of it.
Yeah, I've watched it. Remember, I also watched the season, and I've also watched this episode before. This is the third time I'm seeing this crash.
The job is to watch it and react to it. That's what we're here to do. Anyway, work out your spreadsheet. That's all good. I got this.
It's not as... All right, Dad, work out your spreadsheet.
From memory here, Verstappen cut the corner and then kept the overtake that he was making over Hamilton. And then Verstappen just got a penalty, which again, people can say what they want about the final race of this year, but boy, it really doesn't seem like things went correctly. Stewarding-wise, race directorship-wise.
No.
In many, many ways. You could say the gloves are off.
You know what? I think they're no longer dancing with wolves, man. They're dancing with fire. 3, do not go into 2.
Yeah, so true.
Check my right wheel. Oh, he was more like check my right wheel, as in check that it's okay, not like check it out. Check it out. check my right wheel.
Pretty good.
Oh, that's such a crap crash, guys. Have you never raced in Formula One before? It looks more high speed.
Yeah.
Okay, we're fucked. Great.
Thanks.
Oh, the gloves are off.
Great to have you with us. It's true. I still know way I'm going to watch this race, but boy, I mean, it's got that halo around it, like the way Azerbaijan used to have, of like, oh, those races are always crazy. They're so good. You've got to watch that one.
They are
Oh,
good.
FFTX, is that crypto exchange that went broke? Is that the one?
Oh,
I've just
yes,
seen those
that's
logos on the car.
FTX.
Is
Yep.
that FTX? Is it the same
Yep,
thing?
that's FTX. That's the one.
The first F is a logo form, and then there's the FTX. Got
Yeah,
it.
it's like the ASICS logo. You don't say
As
the A
in,
of the ASICS A logo. You're not
As in,
going like
fuck transactions, Xavier.
Yeah, Xavier.
No, well, if you...
Yeah, you seem like a big crypto. You
That's
seem
why
like
I
a
say
crypto
it.
maximalist. Actually, God, ours has absolutely fallen out of
just huge
crypto sponsorship
yeah,
as well.
Absolutely.
Like, it's gambling and crypto sponsorships are in trouble.
Yeah,
good. We go back to
So
alcohol and
should.
cigarettes, guys.
And,
Alcohol,
and
cigarettes.
if you feel like you don't watch enough YouTube in your life, go and check out a guy called CoffeeZilla. He'll explain all of yes, get alcohol and cigarettes back.
Can we
do
about
that?
it.
It's just not good. Just not good, these two.
I think he did that on purpose. I think the gloves are off here.
Not good,
I
you
think
blokes.
that's no longer an Olympic sport.
Yeah, I
that
don't
is
know.
now
I mean,
backstreet
I don't know.
MMA.
He might have.
And I think that is
But
Max
then explain
Verstappen's
why-
fault
why would he have
always.
done that?
He's a cheater, and he do anything to win.
This is like local wrestling league down at the RSL in the back room. This is not cricket, you guys.
You know how there's been lots of like YouTube influencers and stuff becoming boxers, like KSI and those idiot brothers who are, idiots, but they're like real boxers.
Are we still talking about crypto, or we sort of are?
Yeah, a bit of that.
Logan
But my
Paul
point
and
is
Jake
that,
Paul.
like, I think that some sports are at risk of becoming more like, WWE. And maybe Formula One's a little bit on this track as well, of like, I know it's entertainment, but is it sporting entertainment or is it just spectacle? Because this show has nothing to do with the outcomes of the races, really, or how that stacks up in the championship that much. Because it's like, that's all preordained. Like, who won the championship, who won, like, where the teams all finished. But it's more about, it is what it is, Max is right. But it's more about the drama. Which is the one that matters, right? The Constructors' Championship. That's the one that everyone cares about. There's Mr. Graphics.
Yeah, that's all anyone cares about.
Ooh, he's serious when he swears. I don't think... do you think in a season that Christian Horner says the word Hamilton majority of the time with the word fucking before that? Fucking Hamilton. That's fucking Hamilton, actually. I saw it.
You think the word, his word cloud, Hamilton very big, fucking also very big.
Yes, but I don't think he ever says Hamilton without putting... I think he would, majority of the time, say fucking Hamilton as opposed to Hamilton. Lewis fucking Hamilton.
Like he thinks it's his middle name or something. Like him
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
Mackinnon.
Yeah.
Yeah, boy.
What do you mean, mate?
This is all
You've
setting
picked yourself up
then,
every
doesn't
season. For like the last 8 seasons, you've picked yourself up after that.
it? This episode that just could have been 15 minutes shorter. And you would have lost nothing.
Yeah. Shut up. Great. Yes.
You win. Yeah,
I
fucking
want more
wrecked
of
him.
that. I want more of that, please. I want more of Christian Horner being forced to watch clips of Toto Wolff just going like, God, that guy's got no idea. It's like, he's got some idea. Won all those championships. Made you so, and got you real
He's
annoyed.
sort of saying all the right words. He's just saying in a way that makes me sound bad and him sound good. Like, he's got it all ass backwards. Zach,
I just
we're
think,
done.
you know what? You want to hear my pop psychology on Christian Horner, Toto Wolff?
Yeah. Shoot.
Anyway, this is my take. Christian Horner is the guy who is like, I was a driver, a Formula One driver. So I know about Formula One in ways that Toto Wolff could never know. Toto Wolff is a numbers guy, business guy. How dare he come into this ring, into this coliseum, and show me up? And I think on the flip side is Toto Wolff going like, I'm not a driver, so I've probably got like a little bit of a chip on my shoulder because all these guys are all drivers. All the other people, I've had to like scramble my way past all these men who thought they knew what they were doing because they've driven a car fast. Fuck those guys. I know better. Business will solve these problems. And now he's coming out the other side as well. He's been like, not just business, but me and my sheer brilliance has won all these championships. And I think both of
bring
them
it back to
that they're both that they're both like, the reason my team wins is because of me.
To bring it back to the topic that the show is about, Jean-Claude Van Damme, apocryphal story from ages ago about Jean-Claude Van Damme coming to Melbourne for some tour, and he was at some event, and Stephen Quartermain was there with his wife, and apparently Jean-Claude Van Damme was hitting on Stephen Quartermain's wife, and he didn't like it. So Stephen Quartermain went over to Jean-Claude Van Damme and said, "Hey mate, this is my town." Really put him in his place. And then Jean-Claude Van Damme did the splits, and then Stephen Quartermain found $50. And that's the same energy that Orna walks around with all the time.
Who do you think you could say this is my town to? Like, of a similar level? Like, at what point does it become, it doesn't ring true anymore?
So you have to imagine you're sort of walking down the street, someone like shoulder bumps you, you turn around, you're like, hey, and then looking back at you is celebrity blank. And then your response is, hey, this is my town. Who does it have to be?
It's my town.
Maybe like Felipe Massa?
That's pretty fucking big. Did he
I
ever
say
win
bumping
the Australian
shoulders.
Grand Prix?
I mean, he bumps my hip.
Yeah.
Don't know what, sorry?
Has he won the Australian Grand Prix, Felipe Massa? I think you're in dangerous territory there. Because if he has won, he might be like,
surely not.
I think it's my town. I think that my name's in the trophy, mate.
Yeah. I think you'll find maximum points, big silver trophy, big gold trophy for me, Felipe Massa.
They call me Felipe Maximum Points.
Felipe Michael Massey Massa.
Ooh.
Oh, there you go, Michael Massey. Oh, if I bump shoulders with him, which is possible.
Yes.
Because he's local.
Sorry, mate, this is my town.
Hey, mate, this is my town.
Yep.
Go back to bloody Bondi or wherever you're from.
That's true. That's true. All right.
Where's he from? I'm going to Google it. We'll wrap up the show right after I Google Michael Massey and find out where he's from.
I couldn't find the runtimes of individual episodes, by the way. I think I'm going to have to... Oh, you know what? Now that we're not watching, I can do that because it'll tell me on here.
Born in Sydney, grew up in the suburbs Fairfield and Canada Bay. Ugh. Michael Massey initially studied marketing at TAFE.
Yeah, so did I.
Amazing. Well, I mean, some would say your career has gone better than him.
He ran Formula One, and I do a Formula One podcast.
Isn't he?
Yeah.
Exactly. Here's the thing. You're still in Formula One.
Oh, big shots.
Ouch.
This is my town.
This is my town.
Season 1, Rodney. We have...
Yes.
We got 10 episodes. There are 2 that are 40 minutes or more. The rest are well under 40. Some of them are even 27.
Yeah. I reckon that's
but
the
mainly
benchmark.
around the 30
How many
to
are
35 mark, right? Compare that to season 4, where 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Half the episodes are over 40 and nothing under 35 minutes. And everything is like there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Everything's above, like, except for the Staling Live one, which is about Staling Alive. Talking about Staling, is Ricardo's episode. We're at 34 minutes. Everything else is 37 or above. The show is getting longer every season, and there's less to talk about, but the show is getting longer.
Good news is next season it's going to be a whole episode about that time Tim Cook waved the flag all fucked.
Oh, man. You know what? We're going to get some Tim Cook behind the scenes stuff. That'd be really good, but I don't think we will.
I want a talking head.
Because this is
doing
Netflix. It's not Apple TV. If Apple TV made the show, yeah, but they don't. This is Netflix.
Well, maybe. Oh, another thing, we should sizzle this a little bit. One thing we were thinking about doing, maybe as a Patreon bonus, if we ever have time, is doing a Dare to Swear style episode in our trademark style, watch along. But for one of the other shows that's in the Drive to Survive style, I guess we have the arduous challenge of coming up with a new name for that. But there's that tennis one, and I refuse to watch it. But I would sit through one episode.
Breakpoint.
And we would... Breakpoint, sure, whatever the fuck.
There's 5 episodes.
And, so have you watched that, or would you watch that season? Would you just sit down and be like, I watch tennis, sure.
I mean, I like tennis, and I would like to know, a bit like Drive to Survive. Is this the feeling that people go through with Formula, like Drive to Survive? When they're like, I know of that. and I like it. I wouldn't say I'm a tennis tragic. I used to play a lot of tennis, and I used to watch a lot of it, but now I don't as much.
You go.
I would be interested to know, when I can get tickets. I'd be interested to know what it's like behind the scenes and get to know some of these players a little bit more. But the first episode's about Nick Kyrgios, and I couldn't give a shit.
Yeah, same. Yeah, well, maybe we don't do episode 1. Maybe we do episode 2. But anyway, that's to say we may do that. So if you've never done it before, you want to check out the Patreon, you can support the show, keep us going, keep the lights on, and, all proceeds going to keeping the show running and ticking along. But every now and again, little bonus thing for you. And episodes go out a day or 2 early. So if you're sitting around with nothing to do and you think, yeah, these episodes are good, but man, I wish I had it yesterday. Get on the Patreon, bro. Superlicense.fm is where you get more information about that. Superlicense.fm. Zach, the FM stands for?
Formula Men.
Bit rusty, but we'll work on that. And what else
every
do you
single
do?
time you ask me, I make a quick decision about whether I'm just going to say the normal thing,
I say the
or
normal
if I can
one,
come
or
up with a
do I-
joke on
yeah.
the spot. And 90% of the time, I don't come up with a joke, so I just say Formula Men.
Very good. You can
FM
follow
stands
us
for
on Elon
Felipe
Musk's
Massi.
Twitter. There you go. You can follow us on Elon Musk's Twitter at Superlicense. You can jump in the Discord, which I'm determined to get some life going in there.
I'll be back in there
now
this year.
that Discord works on my computer,
Are we on
there's a good
Mastodon?
chance of that. Are we on Mastodon? Should we get on Mastodon? Should we be Superlicense at elbow.mastodon.social.link?
Yeah. I mean, now, but it's okay, because I think Mastodon's going to really take off now, because the guys who did Tweetbot now have a good app for it. So maybe that will actually happen.
I
RIP
heard that.
Tweetbot,
And
everybody. My favorite
Yeah.
Twitter app. RIP.
Yeah. Pull one out. My 12-month subscription renewed 2 months ago. Thanks very much.
Well, blame Elon for that.
I do. Oh, I do.
Oh, I do.
Do
Yeah,
I?
I sent him the bill. Great.
Oh, that's the fucking guy. If he bumps into my shoulder, I'd be like, hey, Elon, this is my fucking town.
Yes.
That's the guy.
Oh, man. So good. I feel like he'd crumble to dust if you accidentally bumped into him.
Oh, probably. It seems like he does when anyone does.
Yeah.
You could also email us, superlicencepod@gmail.com. I think that's all the things.
What does the Gmail stand for?
Good mail.
Good mail. See, you took the time to decide if you wanted to do a joke or not, and you chose joke, and I think you chose poorly.
Yeah, true. Well, that's all the ways that you can reach us. So it's just good to be back talking to people, and I hope you're excited for Formula One. There'll be more race talk coming up when it happens.
Oh, yes.
Don't know
What's
if we're
the
going
first
to do
race
anything
again?
about the Bahrain, I think. Used to
Oh,
be
that's
Melbourne,
right.
but it's not
I'm gonna watch it
anymore.
with friends.
Gutted.
Yeah.
Oh, nice to have friends. That must be nice.
We'll do a season preview show. We'll talk about the liveries. Do they live
let's
up
do
to
that.
our expectations? Which gambling or professional services analytics company sponsors your favorite team? And how much control did they have over the color scheme?
Very good. And does the proportion of space taken up by crypto logos, have they crashed as much as the value of the cryptocurrency has?
That's it.
all
who's
that lies
launching
ahead.
without many sponsors and is in trouble as a team and might not make it through to the end of the season.
That's all to say. Super License is back, baby. Fucking strap in.
Yeah. Yeah. Strap in, 1.5 speed. Locked.
Zach, it's so good to talk to you again. I'm looking forward to having another fun year talking to you about this silly thing that we watch.
Yeah, so am I. I'm excited. You know what? A couple of weeks after the F1 season finishes, I'm like, cool. I need a break. And then
Very
by
glad.
the 1st of Feb, I'm like, cool. When's Formula One back? I am so
When's
ready
the racing
for
on?
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
put the races back on, please.
I've decided, after the garbage year we had last year, I've decided the racing this year is going to be really good. I've just decided that.
Yes, people are going to shake off
There you
those
go.
first season of new
Yeah.
Formula jitters.
Get rid of that.
And all the good things that we had last season of closer following and all that kind of stuff, it's going to be more of that. And there's going to be less cost cap chat and more will they, won't they. And by will they, won't they, I mean will more teams win races or won't they? Hopefully they will.
Yeah. It's never been clearer that when they put the gloves on, that the gloves then come off.
Yes.
Anyway, we'll be back talking soon. Till then, take care of yourself, Zach. Have a great time with whatever you do. And we'll be back with another episode real soon. Until we do, my name's been Rod.
My name's been Zach.
See you soon on a new episode. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, yeah.